in spite of the fact that they faced certain death, for standing up for what they believe in spite of the fact that they had to stand alone. They knew that God would deliver them from such a grave injustice. But if not, it was well with their souls. Today, my friends, as we look at the civil unrest that is sweeping our nation, the time has come for those of us who are considered the old guard to give way to a new generation of leadership who is demanding their freedom, and they want it right now. Turn to your neighbor and say, right now, right now, right now. They want their freedom, and they want it right now. In fact, this growing millennial movement is not contented with what Dr. King would call the tranquilizing drug of gradualism, and they won't take no for an answer. Like me, they believe that something is wrong with the fact that the value of a black man's life in this country, as compared to the value of a white man's life in this country, has gone from 3/5 to 66% since the Dred Scott decision of 1857. They believe that something is to be said of the fact that more than 150 years later, after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, black men in America still can't breathe. They believe that 50 years after Dr. King dreamed his dream, something is wrong with the fact that little black boys and little black girls are screaming, hands up, don't shoot, as they act simply trying to get home. The act of simply trying to get home can be met with deadly force. But you see, my friends, I believe that the difference between other generations and the millennial generation is that they're mad as hell and they ain't gonna take it no more. To that end, I believe that it behooves everybody, especially those with whom we have entrusted the levers of government, to recognize the fact that a new American revolution is taking place and is seeking those who stand for truth, justice, and the American way to join them in the struggle. In 1970, famed poet and musician Gil Scott-Heron declared to a nervous America that the revolution would not be televised. Today, my friends, in this age of modern technology, I'm here to let you know that the revolution will not only be televised, it will be computerized, but it sure won't be improvised. Amen, somebody. And when this revolution comes to a neighborhood near you, the choice is yours. You can leave, follow, or get out of the way. But if you stand in the middle of the street, if you straddle the fence, you will be run over. To paraphrase Mr. Heron, you will not be able to sit this one out, brother. You will not be able to log on, download, and log off. You will not be able to churn out on that good and roll out the Ellsberg commercials, because the revolution will not be improvised. The revolution will not be improvised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Walmart in 4 parts without commercial interruption. The revolution will not show you pictures of Bill Clinton blowing a saxophone and commanding a drone flown by Donald Rumsfeld. The revolution will not be improvised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Fox News and will not star the Queen Bee and Jigger or Trick Daddy and Trina. The revolution will not get you likes on Facebook. The revolution will not get you retweets on Twitter. The revolution will not make you look better online, because the revolution will not be improvised. There will be no pictures of you hanging in people's living rooms between Jesus, Tupac, and Biggie, because the revolution will not be improvised. CNN will not be able to predict the winner at 9:06 on the dot with all the votes tallied, because the revolution will not be improvised. There will be no videos of protectors killing defenseless on instant replay. There will be no videos of protectors killing the innocent on instant replay. There will be no pictures of Jesse Jackson being run out of Ferguson on the rail in a new movement. There will be no B-roll of Al Sharpton walking down Cameron in a red, black, and green jumpsuit that he's been saving for this particular occasion, because the revolution will not be improvised. Scandal, how to get away with murder, and orange is the new black, will no longer dominate your news feed, and people will no longer care whether Kim stays with Kanye, because the revolution will not be improvised. There will be no monologues on the Daily Show and uploads to YouTube of what's really going on. The theme song will not be written by Pharrell and Jermaine Dupri, nor sung by Bruno Mars, Justin Bieber, Trey Songz, Chris Brown, or Earth, Wind, and Fire. The revolution will not be improvised. The revolution will not be right back after a message about a black thug in a white hoodie with a bag of Skittles and a cold drink. You will not have to worry about the politicians in your bedroom, the preachers in your pockets, and the enemies at the gate. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not go better with bourbon. The revolution will not be supported by those who don't want change, even if they do wear uniforms. The revolution will put those at the bottom of the barrel in a seat at the table. The revolution will not be improvised. Will not be improvised, will not be improvised, will not be improvised. The revolution will be no rerun, brother. The revolution starts with you. Positive change, believe it and achieve it. So in closing, my friends, as we celebrate the world's greatest dream, we do so knowing that even in the midnight hour, we still believe God is able, but if not, we will not back. And so we thank God today for the life of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And as the old folk used to say, if we had 10,000 tongues, we couldn't thank Dr. King enough for all that he means to us. So I will simply close by saying thank you. For you see, if I were Chinese, I'd say, oh dia. If I were Danish, I'd say, mingata. If I were Italian, I'd say, grazia. If I were Hebrew, I'd say, toto raba. If I were Greek, I'd say, eucharisto. If I were Japanese, I'd say, domo arigato. If I were Portuguese, I'd say, obrigado. If I were Spanish, I'd say, muchas gracias. If I were French, I'd say, merci beaucoup. If I were German, I'd say, danke schön. If I were Russian, I'd say, spasiba. If I were Kenyan, I'd say, ashanta. If I were Nigerian, I'd say, et mon dupe. If I were Ghanaian, I'd say, midasi mapi. If I were Zulu, I'd say, engi abunga. If I were Sutu, I'd say, ke alibota. If I were deaf, I'd say, but since I am who I am, and I